How's it going, everybody? This is episode 10 of building this PA-14. So, I'm starting at the windshield X here now. That's these here tubes. And top down view looks like this. So it's this X here that I'm working on. And we're not going to worry about these two tubes here. They're just for stabilizing. But in the last episode, if you remember, when I was tacking, I wasn't sure what I was going to do for jigging it and laying it up. And I mentioned that, and I wasn't sure if this was a straight shot because I have seen people do that. But yeah, I know it probably works for the PA-18, but this one here, at least in the WAG aero plans, it's different. It's not flat. And as you can see, it's 8 3/8 up and 8 1/2 from the firewall. So I got this repurposed jig. That was the back part of my top deck thing there. So this is what I got going on now. I just got it screwed here, and I marked off 8 1/2 inches back and 8 3/8 up. And I got a string representing that tube, and as you can see, if I put it flat, the intersection will be, I don't know, up around here, I guess. I don't know. My eye and what the camera's seeing is different because we're on different angles, but anyways. But that's where it's supposed to intersect, so it's got to be quite a bit different. So this is not the straight line, and it's also on a different plane, so yeah, it's got to be over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off basically. I'll get the line from here down at the firewall. That'll be that angle. And I'll probably just cut this off square. And we'll work with that. I got this cut off now. And like I said, I went from that point down to the firewall tube. Dried it out, and then I went 3/8 of an inch below that line because it's 3/4 tubing used for this. So if you left it where it was, your intersect point would be 3/8 of an inch too high. So right about here is where everything got to be. I might have to come back and cut the top off of this a little bit more, but for now I'm just fitting the two on the bottom to come up and intersect here, and then if I got to trim this after, then that's no big deal. But here you can see with the string, this is where it would be if you put it straight, and it needs to be about, I don't know, there. So like I said, gotta be 3/8 of an inch up. Yeah. So it's a little more angle on the bottom, a little less angle on the top. And I'll try and get you a profile view here. Yeah, I can barely see what I'm doing here, so hopefully this looks alright, but I guess that will be straight, and something this is what it's going to be, and I just slackened that bottom one. So anyways, hopefully you can see what I'm saying here. So I'll get those two on the bottom made up to make a V, and then we'll get that in place, and then it'll just be to connect these two to it. So it's pretty simple actually. A lot of things when you try and think about it to completion, you overthink about it. It's better off you just go ahead and start doing it, and usually things come together a lot simpler than what you're expecting. So yeah, we'll get at that now. Well, here's how I got the angle. Put a screw in it, went up 3/8 of an inch, and went corner to corner. And put an angle finder on it, and it's 90 degrees. So the plans just told me that to make this thing square would have saved me a nice bit of screwing around here, but yeah, can't make things easy all the time. So get the two tubes cut now, leave them a little long, and I'll just cut them at a 45, TIG weld them together. That'll give me my 90. I can lay it in place and coat both ends at the same time and just keep adjusting it till it fits in here, and it should be pretty close to the intersect point. the intersect point is not too critical. If it's off a little bit, it's not the end of the world. If it ends up like 1/8 of an inch too high or even 1/4 inch, it's not worth remaking the whole part just for that. Like, this is just a bunch of diagonals. You got to put your other ones, you got to make them fit anyway. So, and there's literally nothing to bolts to it, nothing that mounts to it. It's just there. You could just do the way I had it first time, put the string right on up, and honestly it probably wouldn't get in the way. The only thing it might affect is your intersect point's gonna be down here and your panel's here. So depending on what you're putting in your panel and how far it comes back, it might contact the tubes. So, and these ones that goes from here down to this cluster, same thing. They're gonna be in right behind your dash, so the further forward ahead you can get them, the better it's gonna be for your instruments. So that's really the only thing you got to consider from what I can see. But this is the first time I built the PA14, so I could be wrong there. I'll let you know in the future. So yeah, 90 degrees. Okay, I ended up changing a bit of stuff up as I went here. Yeah, I gave up on the angle thing. I ended up just chopping off square and using that edge there, rather than trying to get a flat surface to match up perfectly. So, it should be in the right place here now. And as you can see, I just took 2 tubes, cut them at 90, TIG welded them, and then I coped out the 2 ends to make it fit and line up on center. So, right now that's where it needs to be. I might put 2 light little tacks on either side just to hold us in place, but really it doesn't go nowhere. It's been this way, but that keeps it where it gotta be. So I might just leave it like that for now rather than tack welding it. I'd rather get these tubes here fit up and know for sure if I gotta move anything or change anything, at least I don't gotta break any tack welds. Like I said, 'cause this literally has no movement other than it's turning on the axis of that firewall tube. So yeah, next step, tube from here to here and here to there. Well, as you can see, I got the front done. These here 2 tubes are pretty easy. Yeah, I just fit them up each one to this bottom section here, and once it was in, I just stuck the 2 of them in there, or once that one was fitted and once that one was fitted individually, I just kept bringing them together here in the center until everything fit good. And then these 5/8 tubes, they're pretty simple to fit up. So that's it now for that, except for the couple gussets that got to go in. There's 1 on the bottom and 2 on either side here. So that's it for that. The only thing left now to finish the top section is the Cathedral here on the back. So that's basically just a little bit different version of what's on the front. It's a little more pronounced, I guess, and those 5/8 stabilizing tubes that's on this one don't really exist on the back. Well, they don't exist. It's just the 4 tubes. So, and they're 1 inch, same as all the other tubes going to the top there, except for the ones in the front. Oh, and I guess these ones here, forgot they were 3/4. So yeah, I'll start at that now. Alright, buddy, back out here again. Dog's helping me. Getting the back X section here, the PA14 Cathedral, as they call it, jigged up. And basically doing exactly what I've done on the front. Only this time I'm starting off doing what I ended up doing on the front. Just going right to this edge here. So same thing, screwed to the upper longerons and got the height set on the 2x4 there. If you're wondering, I got the string ran here so I can get a measurement from the top of the tube to the cluster, because that's the way it seems like they're measuring that here on the drawings. That looks like they're going to the top, and that is to the top of the cluster, so that's how I measured it out. And this 2x4 is a little bit lower. The measurement from here to here is not 10 7/16, it's 9, or a little bit less actually, because you got an inch of tubing that got to go up here now, so keep that into account. And I just strung a bit of masking tape to get a quick visual, make sure that it looks close, and it does look good. Looks the same as what's on my PA12, which has the PA14 Cathedral in it, because normally the PA12 just got a straight tube that goes from this corner to that corner, or vice versa. I'm not sure exactly what side it's on, but that's all it had. It was just a one cross tube, and that was it. Doing it this way adds a little bit of strength, I would assume, and gives you more room in this area here for baggage, because instead of having a tube all the way down at the same plane as that string, you got all the way up to here now, so it's a little bit better that way, and it looks cool. So from what I can gather from the plans, this is where it got to be. So I'm gonna start cutting some tubes now and fitting them up and getting them in place. Well, Cathedral's in. Looks good. I'm happy with it. And with that finished, we're all done, or I'm all done with all the major framework of the fuselage now. So that's almost it for cutting and coping tubes. Now I do still have a few small things. I got to finish off those 4 tubes there for the truss on the other side. And there's a couple little tubes in the back. Plus I got to build my suspension and the jack screw tower, which won't be holding the jack screw I'm on. It'll just be for the forward of the stabilizer, or the forward of the vertical fin. But as for the actual main fuselage components, this is what you got. And I just counted, and I have 104 tubes into this. So yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So 104, and then like I got those 4 there to go on the other side. That'll be 108, and a couple brace ones on the back there. Yeah, these ones. So that's another 4. So it's 112. And for a timeline to get where I am right now is, after I go in and fill out my logbook for what I've done today, it should be 147 hours. I'm pretty sure I had 144 when I filled it out yesterday, and I done another 3 hours here today. So we'll say 150 hours to get here. By the time I does them 4 tubes, I'll be at 150 for sure. So it is a lot of work, but it's not too bad. It's just same as eating an elephant, one piece at a time, and it comes together. If you look at it like this, like even me now looking at it, I'm kind of blown away that I managed to put all this together. But if you just look at it one step at a time, worry about getting that 1 tube in. Once that 1 tube is in, then worry about the next one. Don't even worry about the ones after it. And don't worry about brackets and all that stuff until you got to go at them. Just concentrate on what you're doing right then and there and get it done. And it ends up not being too daunting of a task. And we're into snow on the ground again out there, as you can tell. And there was snow on the ground when I started this, but it didn't really take me an entire summer to build this, because I can't even remember what it was now. I said it in one of the previous videos there when I got back at this, but I went a few months where I literally did not cut 1 tube, didn't do anything with this plane, because basically it's a winter project for me. Summertime is short here. I'm pretty far north, so a couple months of summer that I do get, I like to enjoy it, and I takes advantage of it to do the work outside that got to be done. So this got put on the back burner, but I done pretty much the entire bottom section in, I think it was like a month and a half, something like that. And then once I got back at it, I finished up the tail post, I think, or the tail post was tacked in, but I never had the last two diagonals in or something like that. It was almost done, but I didn't finish it. Yeah, I think these tubes here were the only two I had to put back in, or put in, not back in. And then after that, it was the top deck structure here. And this only took me 3 weeks, I think. Well, I done everything but this actual top section. I think that was video 8 where I made that square. Everything else besides the cathedral, which I started yesterday or the day before or something, I can't even remember now. I'm not keeping track of days very good here. Well, I done all that just coming out here for 1 hour, 2 hours every day after work. So when I'm at it, I do move quick. My problem is I got too many irons in the fire and I get distracted and work on other stuff. So I'm trying to plug away at this and get some good progress on it. As you can tell, the videos have been coming out pretty frequently if you're following along that way. So now the next thing is, I guess I'm just going to pick around and put in those other brace tubes and get the ones in the tail. And I got to finish weld all this top section here. That's pretty well. Now it's better than tacked, but it's not welded in solid. So I got to burn all that in. And then figure out what I'm going to do next. I guess I'm going to build the vertical stab and try to get that in place and go from there. And once that's in place, I don't know if I'm going to start working on the horizontal stabilizer or if I'm going to wait on that and start making some fittings for landing gear, wing attach, and all that good stuff. And I got to make up a jig for the motor mount bolt pattern, unless I can find a motor mount kicking around here, but I don't think there is one unless I scrap my PA-12 right now, which I don't want to do because I'm not hauling anything off of the PA-12 until I know for sure that I can get this thing done for sometime next summer. If I can't get this thing done sometime next summer, and like if it looks like it's gonna end up taking me right up until fall, and basically as soon as I get it done I'm gonna have to put it away for the winter, then what I'm gonna do is work on it for another winter basically, instead of pillaging a whole bunch of parts off my PA-12. I'll just take advantage of that winter to buy those parts new, and I'll build my wings from scratch and do it that way and keep the PA-12, and then I'll just sell the 12 after. But if I keep making really good progress on this, then the PA-12 is going to donate all of its wing ribs and the hardware inside, the drag wires and the compression struts and fuel tanks and the wing struts, the floats, and a whole bunch of other knick-knack stuff that in the grand scheme of things you don't really think about, but when you start buying all those little knick-knacks, the price starts going up really fast. Like someone would look at this fuselage and say, yeah, that's probably one of the most expensive parts. And realistically, it's one of the cheapest. I think all the tubing for this cost me like $3,500 maybe, if that. That's Canadian too. Whereas you buy all the hardware to go in a wing, you're probably going to be looking at about the same price, just for a bunch of wires and cables and pulleys and stuff that you don't even see. So that's where I'm at now. And everything lined up good. I don't know if I can get it to do this on the camera. Yeah, Jesus. I don't know how I'm going to pull this off. I don't know. With my eye, I can line up the X in the top deck with the join in the cathedral with the tail post, and I can see the line, and the line intersects here in this cluster. And I know it's the center and firewall. So everything stayed pretty straight, which I'm happy. I had measured it since I welded the Cathedral in, but the other night I measured from the rear carry through to the tail post, and I'm less than a 32nd of an inch off, so that's really good. So, man, this shouldn't have dried it very much. It's stuck in place pretty good here now, so adding that in shouldn't have changed much, if anything. But yeah, that's pretty much it now for the fuselage. I'm gonna keep going when I start making fittings, and I'll explain a bunch of that. The rear of the plane, that's gonna be lots of videos, or a few of them. It'll be more than normal because I'm changing a whole bunch of stuff back there, different suspension. I'm changing the size of the control surfaces, and I'm changing the trim system. I'm not using a jack screw, I'm using a linear actuator. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit of figuring to get all that in the back, because I gotta try to stick a linear actuator in there and a shock basically in the same location. They both want to live in the same spot, I'm thinking, so it's gonna be a little figuring and trial and error on that one, I think. So stay tuned for that one. But anyways, if you like these videos, please hit that like button. Yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. And as for comments, I like good comments, but if you ever see me doing anything that I shouldn't be doing or I done wrong, don't hesitate to let me know. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good one.